greetings, everybody. Welcome once again to the Rec Poker Podcast, sponsored as always by Running Aces Casino, Racetrack, and Hotel, and website AMP. In this chats edition of the podcast, we're going to talk with Mike Patrick. Excited to have Mike on. He's a poker player, he's a poker writer, he's a poker reporter. He does all kinds of stuff, but he is also our reigning mixed games champion at Rec Poker. So who knows? We're going to talk about all kinds of stuff with him. But let's first introduce our panel. My name is Steve Fredland. I go by Rec Poker Steve in the PokerStars home game. And I was thinking about mixed games and my just trying to learn mixed games. And so I turned to the great Yoda for his insight. And he said, the greatest teacher failure is.
Well, I'm Jim Reed. Oh, Chris, you are here. All right, jump in there.
Yeah, I'm 5x5 Chris Jones on 5x5 on PokerStars and Twitter, and I am failing to get my webcam working. So I guess that's teaching me something.
This is the best you've ever looked on a podcast.
Thanks.
Well, my name's Jim Reed, Bluffsterini in the home games. You can find out more about me and the other members of the Wrecking Crew by going to rec.poker/crew. And I'm here to tell you that you can pick your friends and you can pick your nose, but you can't pick your friends' noses.
Oh.
And I am John Somsky. I'm Poker Geek Game Man everywhere. And tonight I have a quote from Amaryllis Slim. It never hurts for potential opponents to think you're more than a little stupid and hardly able to count all of the money in your hip pocket, much less hold on to it.
And I'm Rob Washington. I'm Radman50 everywhere. I don't have any poker quotes today. I'm just really excited for the Tournament of Champions tonight. So we're going to see if we can take one down and get a silver pin.
Let's go silver, nice. Rob. Love it, love it, love it. Well, as you guys know, we're gonna chat with Mike, and then after that, we're gonna dig into the community happening. So if you're tuning in, excited to hear your name because you won a tournament, either fast forward or better yet, listen to the conversation, and then we'll get there. But that'll happen after our quick break. But with that, let's bring him in, Mike Patrick. Hey, man, I know we've worked with you. We've done some things with you, but officially, welcome to the Rec Poker Podcast.
Thanks, guys. Great to be here.
And for the folks that are watching on video, we talked about this beforehand. What is your background?
I am where I wish I could be. It's the Aria Poker Room. It's been, a year and a half now since I've played any live poker, and I'm missing not just my favorite room, which is the Aria, but any damn poker room in the area. Like Jim knows, in Ontario, we haven't had anything remotely resembling poker since COVID hit, and I've been looking around at like the states in New York, and there's nothing even close. Like we need the border to open up so I can drive 4 hours to Turning Stone because I'm itching to play some live poker. So
I can't tell at all that you're itching to play. So you mentioned you are one of our Canadian friends. Kind of, where are you, in Toronto, or whereabout are you located?
Yeah, I'm in Toronto.
Yeah. Okay. So that where is your normal? What would be your home casino, or what would be where you normally play?
Oof.
So the casinos in Ontario are kind of a mixed bag of okay and not so great. So for the majority of how long I've been playing poker, I've been driving across the border in Niagara Falls to play on the American side at Seneca Niagara Casino, which is, in my opinion, the best run casino in the area here. The other casinos in Ontario have some good things going for them, but Seneca I consider my home casino. Just I've played there for so long, and they treat me like family there, and I'm missing all those guys there, and hope they're all doing well. And then Turning Stone's about 4 hours away, like I said, and that's just an amazing room. I've always liked playing there, but it's tough to find any mixed games around the area actually. So that's kind of for the home games.
Well, it sounds like a road trip is in order once things open up, because we got you, We got Reed, we got McVean, we got all these folks up there in and around Toronto. I know Pet Vet's up in Canada. I'm not sure where. I think all Canadians live in the same place, so it doesn't really matter. But we got to get the road trip up there. A lot of us are Minnesota, man. It's not too far. We got to get up there, but super fun. So tell us a little bit about who you are in the industry. I know you do a few things, and people have heard your name, but for the folks that maybe haven't heard of you or haven't really followed, kind of where are you plugged into the industry? What are some of the things that you're involved with?
So I'm flattered that you guys invited me, because honestly, I don't really think of myself much in the industry. Like I've done some stuff for Robbie at Card Player Lifestyle. Like I've written for him for about 2.5 years or so now. I've done some articles for him. I did a bit of stuff for PokerNews Canada before they kind of dissolved. But one thing I'm looking forward to is I'm going to be doing some live reporting for PokerNews in the fall at the World Series, which is going to be amazing. I've been waiting since last year to do that. So, but before that, I was working in the TV industry. I was a producer at the Sports Network, which is like Canada's version of ESPN. And then they went through some stuff and laid some people off, and I was one of those people. So I had to transition my career, and fortunately, working in poker media has been a part of it since then, and it's been a lot of fun.
So where do you, I mean, we talk about this quite a bit in the show, where there's a lot of folks that are like, man, I'd love to work in the industry, even part-time, or just kind of get my foot in the door. And, your foot is in the door, but kind of where, I mean, do you have a vision for kind of where you want to take it? Just kind of want to keep contributing here and there and doing what you're doing? Or do you have a hope that you can actually become, even more ingrained?
Well, one thing I would really like to do, and I've touched base with a few people, but it's kind of a hard gig to get into, is I'd like to take my TV experience and merge it into poker and work in some aspect there, producing some kind of poker show. Like, I know Poker Go is phenomenal with what they've been doing since they've come up, and I've been fortunate enough to bounce a couple of emails back and forth with Maury there. But the fact that I'm in Toronto is kind of, and not Vegas, is kind of a tough thing. Like, it's a lot of poker media outlets are based in either Vegas or in Europe, and there's not really anything in Toronto. And so being a Canadian in that aspect is kind of a bit of a downer. It's tough, but hopefully now that things are picking up again now post-COVID, I'd love to speak to some people in poker media in the TV aspect of it. And, I worked in TV for 20 years. I know I could bring some stuff to poker TV if possible, but like I said, right now I've been loving writing articles, and I've been doing a bit of podcast stuff with Cards Chat. I've done some stuff with them, and I just love doing anything that's involved in it. Like, I'm really happy that I've had this time to work in poker in any element whatsoever. So it's been very cool to take, another passion of mine, like sports is one of my big passions, and to take poker as well and be able to kind of do more with that in the past couple of years has been awesome.
I love that. I mean, we talk about you can't teach passion, right? So you got the passion. Now we just need the outlet, and you just need to get connected to the right people, right? Whether that's let's get something cranking in Canada, let's get that TV show cranking in Canada, or you meet the right connection. So hopefully, maybe, you never know who's listening that knows somebody, but connect him to Mike, man. Let's go. He's one of the good guys. We need good people in the poker industry. So let's get Mike connected. But you mentioned mixed games a little bit, and I don't know your whole story, but obviously you crush. Well, you crush all of our games, but you crush mixed games.
I've been running pretty salty in the no limit games this year. I'll tell you.
Leave those alone. Those are ours. But the mixed game stuff is you're crushing those. And John puts all that stuff together, and it's pretty remarkable what you've done. And obviously you've got pretty good experience with mixed games. But just so people know that maybe are just kind of new to Rec Poker, we do these home games every night. Part of that is we do once a month, second Wednesday of every month. Correct me if I'm wrong. We do the mixed game. It's a 12-month series, a monthly tournament. We keep track of the points. We do Player of the Year. We give the Reckies Award. It's a whole big thing. And last year we get like 60 to 80 people to play these mixed games, and Mike won 4 out of the 12. Like, even if you don't know our point system, he had 463 points, and second was Taylor with 263.
It was crazy.
Yeah, Barry at 250. Like, it wasn't even close like that. And we're like, okay, well, that's an anomaly, right? Like, okay, this guy's going to make me sing "Oh Canada" on the streets of Vegas. 2021 is a whole different story. And then you win the first two in 2021, and you're leading the thing again. So I'm just kind of curious, like, so obviously mixed games are a passion of yours. You're good at it, but like, what is it about mixed games that draws you more than maybe No Limit Hold'em, or maybe dig into that a little bit? What is it about mixed games that you love?
It's just something different. It's honestly, it's a change of pace. Like, No Limit Hold'em is the Cadillac of poker. It's, what everybody plays and knows. And there's so many other variations of poker out there, that are just so much fun and so worth learning and playing and discovering. And I was lucky enough that, I'm a product of the Moneybaker boom, and I played, limit hold'em and then no limit hold'em, and then dabbled a little bit in PLO, and then evolved into '08 and more mixed games from there. So I was fortunate enough to discover them early enough in my poker career, that I've just kind of learned them over the years and learned more and more, and just they're fun. I mean, the majority of them that I play, because being a Canadian, fortunately enough, I can play on PokerStars,
Right.
and I can play the 8 game and anything that they offer. But like I said, live mixed games are tough to find up here, but they're just different. They're just so much fun, and then in a live setting, they're just a whole different world, because like when you play No Limit Hold'em, it's we know what it's all about. It's it's pretty, you hide down, throw in your hoodie, hide in your it's don't give off any tells, keep it quiet, and everything like that. Throw in the headphones, everything like that. But a mixed game environment is just so much better. It's just so different, because there isn't. I mean, there's thought obviously, but there isn't that like deep. I need to think for 30 seconds or whatever to make a decision on every street of a game. If it's whether I want to flick in a sixth of the pot to make a call or not, it doesn't take as long. So the game just moves faster. People are happier because the game moves quicker, and it's, I don't know, it's just a whole different atmosphere in live games that are just so much fun. Especially with speaking of PokerStars, I gotta close them down here. They're just there's so many different, there's things that are familiar from playing No Limit Hold'em, and there's so many things that are obviously different, and it's just doing something different, playing something different, but it's still poker, and all the things that you like about whatever game that your main game is, whether it's Hold'em or PLO or whatever. There's always going to be something that's fun, and just learning something new and discovering a new game. It's exciting. It's fun. It's just a good time.
My experience, the biggest difference is because of where I play, because they're never offered. The biggest differences are everybody is a community, because we're all saying, oh, what should the pot be when somebody bets PLO? Like, what's the pot? And it takes the whole table to decide what the pot amount is. And then at the end, everybody says, oh, wait, no, they got a straight. Oh, no, they got a flush, because everybody's so inexperienced, including the dealer. So that's my experience of why it's different. But John, what do you got for us?
Well, I was just going to mention that it was kind of interesting when we started out the mixed games. The idea was to bring mixed games to people who are used to just playing Hold'em. Mm-hmm. And those first few games that we were playing, it was quite interesting, because you had to figure out whether a person, because for several people, this was the first time they were ever playing that type of game. You had to figure out if they even knew what the rules of the game were, because there were sometimes, it was a high-low split game and people didn't understand that, or they didn't know how to play high-low split, or the first time they were playing Raz, they thought it was stud high. So, they had completely wrong hands. But it was really interesting watching you. I was at your table, and it was very clear early on. It's like, oh, this guy knows what he's doing. I'll have to stay out of his way. And I'm still quite jealous. I set up the mixed games. I'm supposed to be the mixed game expert, and I have yet to win a mixed game. And here you have won 6 of them.
Yeah, he's only won half of them, though, John. You've got other people out there standing in your way.
John is in fourth place this year in the standing, so it's not like he's slack.
Well, yeah. But anyway, it was really impressive. The first time he didn't manage to win a game this year, he still came in second. Yeah. So first, second to begin the year off. Quite impressive.
Thank you. I love playing the games with you guys, because it's one of the things that is so great about playing mixed games is that in general, unless you're playing in like a Las Vegas mixed game with people that are regulars in that game, they're generally like a social atmosphere, and it is a lot of people that aren't familiar with a lot of the games, and that's why playing in the rec game is so cool, because I am familiar with all the games and I've played them for a long time, and I like being in there and seeing what people are doing and seeing that other people are excited about trying something new and learning these games, because they do offer a lot. There's they're like I said, there's something different from No Limit Hold'em, and there's things that you can play No Limit Deuce to 7 and discover, hey, I really like this game. It's something different. It's something cool. And then you study up on that and you discover something else that you like and you go, okay, that was kind of cool. Or maybe like split pot games or whatever. So it's cool to see that you guys have been an outlet to bring people to the mixed game community. And I would just love to see all these people, come down to Vegas in the summer and see what it's in the fall, I guess, what it's like to be in like low stakes live mixed games, because they're an absolute blast. And the fun that we have on the second Wednesday of every month playing these games and learning them together, it's awesome doing it live. It's a whole different world. It's so great.
I bet you would love to see us all come down there. I mean, it'd be so great if you guys all came and played live. Like, wouldn't that
Bring your wallets.
I've got
4-8. No, let's play 30-60. Let's go.
Why stop there? Let's all play $2,000 tournaments. Come on, guys. Let's go. It'd be great to see you guys there. No, I know what you mean. I've come in kicking and screaming because I'm still trying to figure out one game. But I think a lot of us that have now tried it are like, this is kind of fun and it is good for the brain. You learn some new things. So I think it is a pretty cool thing, but you do feel like pretty far behind the 8 ball when you're up against people that have been playing it for many years, but it's just a different reason for playing. It's a fun new game. I'm kind of curious.
Actually, that's the reason, one of the reasons that most of the highest stakes games are mixed games. It's because it levels the playing field a little bit. People might understand that they aren't the best at game X, but they'll think they have an edge in games Y or Z or whatever, and that can overcome that particular thing. So by putting everyone off balance a little bit, it kind of levels the playing field there. So
it's true. Yeah, in the biggest games, in the tournaments, and in the Bobby's Room games, obviously everybody is really proficient at all the games, and you have to be in that situation to be a winning player. But that is exactly why there is some appeal to it, is because, in an 8-game mix, there's 8 games. You've got to know 8 games well. In a dealer's choice mix, there can be like 20 games. So there's always going to be like a game or two or however many that people aren't as familiar with. And, that's part of the strategy, is knowing which games, you're better at than other people and things like that. But it's just, there's so many different games that you can learn. Like there's games in the mix in the Vegas games that I've barely played. Like I have never played a hand of Archie in my life, and I can't wait to get down there this fall and fire some Archie. I know the comic book. The comic book's great, but the book game,
we have no idea about Archie. That sounds great. Good luck with the Archie.
I got 3 jacks. If I got Jughead, I don't know. Okay, that was a terrible joke.
Well, I'm kind of curious. I know you guys also have questions, so I'll shut up after this one. But like, I do know, like, we're recording this on July 12th, and yesterday there's a pretty big announcement from Robbie Straczynski, as you know, about this mixed game festival that's going to be down in Vegas, kind of at the start of the World Series. And maybe talk a little bit about that. Are you excited about that? It looks like it's mostly cash games ending with like a $200 tournament, but
yeah,
what your perspective on the festival that's happening?
I can't wait for that. That's going to be an absolute blast. And to be honest, I don't think the Westgate knows what it's in for.
How big it's
games? Sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry, how big it's going to be, because there's like a $30,000 platinum pass up for grabs, right?
Yeah, because like the Westgate is a great little room. Like it's this tiny little room, 8 tables, 6 maybe, I don't know, 6 or 8 tables, but it's like a small little room next to the sports book. Humongous sports book, tiny little poker room, but it's such a cozy, cool little room. And the staff there has always been amazing to us. Like Robbie's had games there before that I've played in, and they're fantastic. Andrew Nemi and Brad Owen, they used to do their meetup games there. I've been there for those. Atmosphere is fantastic. The staff at the Westgate is amazing. This thing is going to be huge because, there's a $25,000 platinum pass on the end here. The events that have been getting these platinum pass events before COVID, we're getting hundreds and hundreds of players at U.S. casinos, and I really hope they're bringing in more tables and spreading them through the sportsbook or something, because this thing is going to be huge. Just that alone is going to be great. But there's going to be so many people. Like there's 3 days of cash games leading up to the horse tournament at the end, and a lot of people are going to be in town already. And I know a lot of people are going to be coming into town to play those. And the mixed game community is tight, and it's wider than you might think. And there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be coming in for it. So I shout out to the Westgate. I love you guys, but man, I hope you guys are ready for this.
Yeah, I mean, just based on the Twitter, Facebook, social media response, who knows how many people actually show up? But there's a lot of people like, oh my gosh, I can't wait. And like, if that's just going to be a fraction of who actually shows up. So yeah, it could be really huge. I'm kind of curious, Jonesy or Washam or Jim, is that something that's appealing to you guys? I know Somsky's, if he could be there, he'll be there. But like, are you guys mixed game players enough where something like that is an appeal to you guys?
Personally,
I wish I was.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'd love to be, but I don't have the chops yet. I feel it.
Jake, if I can just jump in, honestly, this is the kind of setting that is perfect for a newer mixed game player, because these aren't the regular games in Vegas that are, the 816, the 2040, whatever those games. These are a lot of recreational players that are going to be coming in, and to get a shot at this, to splash around in some new games. I mean, we're going to be playing like 4-8. It's, you sit down with $200 in white chips and it's just blasting them all over the table. It's an absolute ball.
I bet you're so excited, Mike.
Oh, I can't wait.
Look at his face. Look at his face talking about it. Oh my God.
It does. It sounds like a total blast. I mean, like I would love to just kind of to try it out and whatever. I would definitely be the worst player at the table, but it would be such a blast.
Well, when we had our last game there a couple of summers ago, we had a table that was two guys who I don't think had ever played any mixed games. They just came to figure it out and see what it was about. And we had an absolute blast. Like there was myself and Robbie, Yori from PokerNews was there. I think Will Schilleber. There was a few guys from PokerNews that were playing with us. A buddy of mine that came down who's played a little bit. And then there were two guys who had never played, who were just friends of friends, had never played mixed games, and said, all right, I'm going to punt off a couple of $100 and have some drinks. And they just had an absolute ball just learning these games, like Badoogie. What's Badoogie? Wait, I'm not playing Raz, but there's only 4 cards. And the thing that's so cool about this is, yeah, you may be inexperienced, or there may be games you've never even played. But the cool thing is, it's not like an Hold'em table where everybody's just ruthless and, hoodied up and silent. Everybody's there to help each other in the low stakes games. And they're there to help you. They're there to help the dealers. They're there to help the other players. It is the most fun I've ever had at a poker table. Any mixed game I've ever been to, whether it's the games I've played at the Westgate with those guys. I could go on a tangent here about a game. The first time I ever actually played one of those Las Vegas kind of media mixed games with Remco and Donnie and some other guys, and Norman Chad was there. And we played at the Monte Carlo from like 8 p.m. till, God, must have been 6 a.m. and just playing games that I'd heard of. And then Norman Chad knows every game there is in the world, every banana home game, every ridiculous, crazy game. There was games with spits and drawing and all these weird games that I didn't even know. And I was 10 or 20 cocktails deep because we had the best server in the world at that game. And everybody's just having an absolute time of their life. And there were games that so many people didn't know, and it didn't matter because everybody's just there to have fun and to have a great time and punt off a couple $100.
Well, it's pretty fun. Like it tells me a couple things. Either mixed games attract the right kind of people that are good for the community, or mixed games players get it. Like that's how you build the game, is you are good to people at the table. You teach them, you make them feel good. I think no limit hold'em players to a large degree don't get that. They don't understand. It would be better for you if you were nicer to people at the table, if you're actually trying to grow the game. So I think that's an interesting dynamic with mixed games, and that community thing I think is a big thing for a lot of people. I'm curious, Rob, I was curious kind of your perspective on this. Is this something that's attractive to you, or you play mixed games enough that this is something you'd look at?
Well, I don't play mixed games enough, but I definitely sounds like a lot of fun. I mean, Mike makes it sound like that's the best place to be at that time of the day, at that time of the series, whatever. So it sounds like I might have to pay a visit to the Westgate while I'm up there.
Yeah, well, you're close there now, right? You're not too far away.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah, we'll be living in Arizona, Bullhead City, right across the river from Laughlin. So I'll only be an hour and a half from Vegas.
There it is. Rob will be there. Jim, what did you have?
Yeah, well, Mike, make it easy for us. So there's players like me that love playing Hold'em, love the social quality of the game, but we just don't like trying new things for the first time, or like we don't like learning things, or we feel like we're going to look stupid. Like, what's the first game we should start trying to learn? If we feel like we are pretty much, we got No Limit Hold'em, we're comfortable with that. What's one that's going to be like a comfortable step into mixed games from there?
I'd say if you've never played Pot Limit Omaha, Pot Limit Omaha is the next, it's the gateway drug to mixed games, basically. It's 4 cards. It's very similar to Hold'em, obviously. But still different enough that there's new strategies and different things to think about. But there's enough familiarity that you're trying something different, but it's recognizable. And then, like I said, when I started dabbling a bit more, like a PLO was the first mixed game that I played. And then from there, I was like, okay, what's this Omaha 8 or better? It's same thing. It's Omaha. It's 4 cards, but it's split pot. What's this? So then I think Omaha 8 is actually a really, really great game for people to dive into mixed games with, along with PLO, because it introduces the elements of split pot games and just thinking of things in a different manner, as opposed to just trying to make high hands where you have to make low hands as well. So then once you start introducing that element, then you can start thinking about the other low ball games, like the stud games, like Raz. Raz is probably the simplest poker game to learn, but there's enough nuance and enough things to drive you crazy that it's not an easy game. It looks really easy, just make the lowest 5 cards that you can. All right, that's easy. I'm terrible at Hold'em, so I must be good at Raz. So there's a lot of different games that are really, really appealing for someone that wants to jump into mixed games. Those are the ones I'd say. I'd say PLO for the fact that it's similar enough to Hold'em, that it's familiar, but just different enough that you'll be comfortable with it. And then Omaha 8 or better is a cool one because, again, it's a flop game, but it introduces the element of looking for low hands. Mm. And then if you want to kind of go into the stud low ball area, give Raz a look because it's really easy to learn, but it's very different.
Chris?
Yeah, Mike, like as somebody who's pretty, like, I'm just trying to sometimes learn, like, what is the best hand in these kind of games. Like I'm trying to learn mixed games. But one of the things that's kind of fascinating to me, and I think I haven't even progressed to this step, but thinking about it, is when we're playing in, not just learning one game, but when we're playing in these sort of tournament style mixed games where they keep switching the game on us, like, what are some of the strategies of just playing in a tournament where the game is switching every so often? Are you trying to find your best game and then trying to stay out of the way when you're in a game where you're like, I don't even know what end is up here? Or like, what are some of the key strategies to playing in tournament style mixed games where the game keeps changing?
So yeah, in a horse or 8-game mix, the easiest thing I can say is you kind of have to be as familiar with the games as possible with all of them in the mix. And recognize what your better games are and what your weaker games are. Like, I'll fully admit, Limit Hold'em is probably my worst game. It's Hold'em, but it's Limit Hold'em. It's a different beast, and it's the game I play the least. And generally, I only play it in a horse or an 8-game mix. But yeah, just it's better to learn a few games just one at a time, maybe, before diving into the full. Into a full 8-game mix or into a horse mix. A horse mix is obviously easier because it's only 5 games, and Hold'em is one of the games, so that's going to be more familiar with the players. But then the next one is the Omaha 8, and then there's the 3 stud games, Raz, Stud, and Stud 8. So there's more games to learn, but it's best before maybe you jump into a full mix of games like that to get familiar, get comfortable with at least 2 or 3 of the games. And then, get more familiar as you go along.
Yeah, I know. Fox once said he's won a World Series of Poker brace like Chris Wallace, and he said in horse, and for him it was like what his best games are, but then also really paying attention to pick up on who are obviously the weaker players in the different games, and really it's that like you would do it in No Limit Hold'em, but just sort of like every game trying to figure out who are the people I want to get into pots with, and so it seems too complicated for my brain. We'll go Somsky and then Jim.
I was just going to mention, as far as learning, another little tip is if you're playing in a mixed game where it's rotating games. Just in the games you don't know as well, play tighter. Play fewer starting hands, play stronger starting hands, fold the first few positions so that you're going to be in position more often, and that'll go a long ways to make it. It doesn't hurt you as much in these mixed games limit tournaments to fold for an orbit or so.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, just recognize which games are your weakest, and then, play as tight as you can with those. Play to whatever level you're comfortable in those games, and just recognize it and don't get too cute.
Yep.
And then my question was more about sort of like sound like the meta game a little bit when you're at the table like that. Like if let's say you're in the later stages of a tournament, or maybe even the final table of like a dealer's choice or something. If you were in a place where the players to your left all had big stacks, like how important is the stack size when you're making this decision? Like, would you ever consider playing like a low bet game, small bet game, or a limit game versus a no limit game according to stack size or something like that?
So in a dealer's choice tournament, yeah, you would definitely have to be more selective of which game you choose when the option is on you. Based on that, like depending on how you want to play, whether you want to, double up or play aggressively, then you can choose big bet games. Or if you want to kind of just, be patient until maybe somebody picks a game that you're more familiar with, then you can do that and just take limit games that are going to, help you ladder up a bit. Or you could just, pick whatever game you think is your best at. Pick what your best game is, and you can do that strategy. Or if you can also pick what you think your opponent to your left, their worst game might be. So then you can play more aggressively against them. So that's like the case in a dealer's choice game. But in an 8 game or a horse mix, it's not really a consideration, because the games just cycle on a set rotation. So you're just gonna have to take what they give you and play accordingly. And then based on ICM and your stack size and things like that, just determine how you want to play.
I'm kind of curious, just from a general strategic perspective, because I played Omaha a bit now, but I still have never studied the game. I've never studied starting hand ranges, so I'm very much a novice. But I know when I first started playing, it seemed like, boy, everybody's playing everything, because a lot of limps, whatever. And so it feels like, boy, any two will do. Let's go. And then, as I started playing more, I'm like, wow, there's actually a big advantage to playing tighter than the average Joe, having better hand selection. And then how big of an issue is position. So let's just take Omaha, since it's your gateway drug to mixed games. If we just take Omaha just at a very, very high level, let's say we're deep stacked, is hand selection as important in Omaha? Or let me rephrase that. Is the percentage of hands that you would play, your VPIP or whatever you want to say, should that be about the same in Omaha versus no limit hold'em, or should it be higher because of just the dynamics and the structure of it? And then the second part of that is by position. So no limit hold'em is very, it's, to me anyway, at least the way that I play, the percentage of pots that I enter is very different, early position versus late position. Is it just as dramatic in a game like Omaha, or is it tighter? Is it tighter all around?
No, pot limit Omaha, it's very similar to no limit hold'em in the fact that position is really, really important, because there are a lot more possibilities with your hands, and you really don't want to be playing at a position as much as possible without a really strong hand. With a big stack, it can get a little more splashy and a little more aggressive, and blast off a little bit more, especially in position. Like you'll see guys that are playing pretty much anything in late position with a big stack against smaller stacks, and essentially playing their stack more than their hands, which is just as effective in PLO as it is in no limit hold'em. So there's similarities to it in that. I honestly, PLO is one of the games I play among the least. I play more cash games of that, so my PLO tournament game isn't as sharp as some of the others maybe, but there are a lot of similarities, and position is definitely as important, if not more so, in PLO.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, because the way that I've only played, very small tournament buy-ins with a bunch of people that don't really know what they're doing, or at least I can't pick out the ones that know what they're doing, and so it doesn't feel like they're valuing position as much. I'm seeing these sort of marginal hands flipped over from early position, and I'm just trying to think through in my mind, is this correct or is this incorrect? Like, should they be, and so what I'm hearing is not so much.
Sometimes it is, and sometimes it's not. Again,
Oh,
it's very player dependent, like any Nolan Olam. It depends on what you think you can get away with, how you can exploit your opponents, and yeah,
and I think
position's always king. But if you can exploit your opponents accordingly with some nonsense, then yeah, by all means, go for it.
I think it's more just we just want to play, and I think that's what it is. So I think what I'm hearing you say is position is just as important, if not more, as it is in Hold'em. Even though maybe some of the games I'm playing in doesn't reflect that. And hand selection is just as important.
If you see a lot of players at your table playing a lot of nonsense, then yeah, it's generally like no limit Hold'em. It's better to tighten up a little bit and play some better hands, and let them stick all their money in with their 9 high flush draws and stuff like that when you've got the nuts. So
yeah, I had a flush draw, 9 high flush draw, and you're up against 3 others that are all bigger than yours. Okay. Well, guys, any other questions for Mike? I've got another question for him, but I think I want to make sure you guys have an opportunity to chime in or Kim, Martha, Paul.
Mike, do you have any experience? We're talking about going down to WSOP for some of our Canadian members. It's the first time. Have you gone through this experience of sort of like, I should watch out the way I phrase this. Have you gone through this experience of cashing in an event down there and then having to like have your withholding dealt with coming back across the border? Can you just talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. So I've cashed a couple of times down there, and the line is $5,000. So if you make $5,000 or less, you don't have to worry about paying taxes or getting that. You just get your lump of cash, your check or whatever, and you're good. But once you cross $5,000, then they take off the withholding, which I believe is 35%, but don't quote me on that. But there are ways that you can, I think, get it back once you come back home. There are some tax places that deal specifically with that, with getting gambling taxes back to you. So you can do it. It can be done. You just have to go through the process and you'll get it back a few months later, but you can get it back.
Jim, I assume you're asking that question on behalf of Kim or somebody else who might actually cash?
Yeah, I'm talking about some of the wizards that are going to come back with their pockets full, not empty, like I'm planning. You know me, I like to leave all my chips on the table. That's the best way. Just leave them all there on the table, making a graceful exit. That's what I'm hoping.
Just easier. I think
just make your life simple, Jim. I like the plan. Like, why plan on winning if you can just like don't have to deal with any of this stuff?
I mean, it sounds like a headache.
If you don't want to deal with it, just bust it before you make more than 5K.
Yeah. Right. That's my new plan. I'm going to start circling the payouts up to 5K, and that's when I'm going to really start making my move. All right, don't tell anybody though.
So Mike, I'm curious. So now, if you're going to be doing some of the poker reporting for PokerNews, and but also wanting to play, have you thought about your schedule for the WSOP, or is it all still kind of we got to see how it's going to play out here?
So this year's going to be a little different. Like if I wasn't working for PokerNews, I would be planning on there's a week where there's a back-to-back $1,500 8-game and horse, and I was kind of eyeing those, but not necessarily going to be an option if I'm going to be working for 2 months down there. So I think they do let you play an event or two, so I might still be able to squeeze that in if I can make a deep run and they'll give me 3 days off in a row. That'd be cool. Mm-hmm. But for now, I'm tentatively planning on playing the casino employees event because I'll be a casino employee, so I've never played that one before, so why not? So yeah, I'm looking at that. And then another thing I'm actually really looking forward to is if I do have a day or two off a week, and I am down there for 2 months, is getting a chance to play some of the great one-day tournaments that are in a lot of the places down there, notably the Orleans and the Golden Nugget. The Orleans has a great series during the World Series where they run a lot of mixed games. Like it's usually, I think it's like 3 or 4 days at least. They have a mixed game and a no limit hold'em tournament in the same day. And then the Golden Nuggets Grand Series is amazing. It is so great for lower buy-ins and newer players to playing mixed games. And they have plenty of no limit hold'em tournaments as well that, all run in buy-ins. Both places run in buy-ins from like $150 to like $500. Mm-hmm. So there's a ton of great tournaments for mixed game players and no limit hold'em players that are, 3-figure buy-ins. They're great.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you can get your schedule figured out so you can balance both of those things. John, did you have something?
No.
All right, thanks.
Put John on the spot and watch him go, wait. Well, Mike, man, it's been a pleasure. I know we've got a little bit in other venues, but it's fun just to chat mixed games, let the world know a little bit more about who you are. And I think, your skill set is huge. I think there's a lot of things that you could be doing. So hopefully you find that right thing there. I think, man, just being an ambassador for mixed games, like somebody should be paying you to just be somewhere. It won't be rec poker.
Thanks.
Unless Chris Jones wants to pay you, him and Rob can pay you. That's fine. But no, I mean, it's a pleasure, man. You're one of the good guys in the industry, and I wish you all the best for everything you have going on, man. This fall is going to be an exciting time. You're going to meet so many amazing people inside PokerNews and in the whole industry. That could really open up some doors and hopefully just crank your career to the next level.
That'd be awesome. Thanks, Steve. I appreciate the chance to get on here and chat with you guys. And it's, like I said, it's always fun playing with you guys. And I'm looking forward to seeing you all down there. And I do have to say before I go that you will be singing the anthem. And,
yes.
There's a little bar at the D on Fremont called Bar Canada inside the D Las Vegas.
Is that right?
And I think that would be a great place to do it. We could get together and watch a Golden Knights game, cocktails, sing an anthem.
Interesting.
I'll put it this way. I'm committed to doing it, but I'm not going to be pushing the logistics. I'm not going to be pushing it for it to happen, but if it's
bring in the lyrics.
Yeah.
I know the lyrics. Go on the lyrics. That part is no problem. And I'm going to have fun with it. But
awesome.
You are to blame, to give credit to.
Yes, it's this guy.
And there's several names that won. Kim won stuff, Jim won stuff. But if it wasn't for you, I think I'd get by last year without so thanks a lot.
We still got 6 more months, so if I knock off a couple more, maybe you'll get your second place.
Pick another country that we can go after. Going or something. But Mike, yeah, seriously, man, thanks for being on here. Thanks for all your involvement in Rec Poker. We'll be in touch. If you need anything, man, let us know, and we'll get the word out. We'll let you know when this thing airs, and we'll go from there. And I guess it's Monday, July 12th, which means in 2 days you're going to be winning another mixed game tournament. So next week when we record this, we'll be saying your name, I'm sure.
Look forward to it.
All right, Mike, take care, man.
Perfect. Thanks, Steve. Thanks, guys.
Great.
All right.
Awesome.
Well, guys, what do we before we get to Jonathan Little? What any feedback, any thoughts from the conversation with Mike?
Go ahead, Jim.
No, just one of the fun guys at Rec Poker. We talk sports every once in a while. He's playing his home game from time to time. He's just full of fun. He's always got good people around him. Crushes our mixed games. Other than that, what can you say about the guy?
Thanks.
Yeah, and I love the conversation, and I think with his TV experience, the thing that Poker Go nobody seems to have is really like a mixed game TV show. So I mean, let's and I feel like that's the time that I've learned the most about mixed games is watching. The only thing that I've been able to watch some like really high level mixed game play is the WSOP, the bracelet events where like the crushers are playing like whatever, they Poker Go has some of those. I've watched some of those, and that's like the basis of like basically my understanding of any of those games. So it would be awesome to see that happen.
Very cool. Anything else, guys? All right. Well, why don't we, Jim, do you want to go ahead and queue up Jonathan and we'll take it from there?
Have you ever wondered whether you should call a preflop raise or 3-bet instead? What do you do when you have a flush draw? Do you raise it or do you just call? What do you do with ace king when you miss the flop? Are you tired of guessing about what the right play is with your particular hand?
Oh, I hate guessing.
Well, my name is Jonathan Little, and I am a 2-time World Poker Tour champion and creator of PokerCoaching.com, where we offer over 1,000 interactive hand quizzes where you play a hand and then get real-time feedback from our world-class pros. Don't guess and don't stress. Just register for your free account at PokerCoaching.com/recpoker right now.
And if you go to PokerCoaching.com/recpoker right now and sign up and you don't think you're getting your money worth, he'll give you your money back. Jonathan Little, he'll do it. He'll give you your money back. So go check that out. And for God's sake, don't guess or stress. Oh man, he gets so angry when you do it.
Yeah, I think it's very easy, you listen to podcasts, watch TV, and you gloss over commercials. And now we've been running this one for a while, so it just becomes sort of background noise. But kind of pay attention to that. Hear what he's saying in there. He's one of the foremost teachers of the game, especially for beginning to intermediate players. Not that he's not a high level pro, but he's very good at explaining concepts at an easy level. So I really do recommend PokerCoaching.com/recpoker. check it out. Don't let it just be background noise. Maybe today, just kind of go check it out, peruse the website, see what's out there. Before we get into the home games, just one real quick announcement I want to make is that we have been invited to do the Run Good Poker Series down in Florida. And so I'm still kind of just doing an interest check. We have maybe half a dozen people that are like, maybe. And so if you're interested in checking that out, no commitment at all, get a hold of me, steve@rec.poker, or DM me somewhere. And let's talk about it. It's August 23rd through the 29th. And it's just a great week. It's a real fun week. If we have enough people, we'll get a house and we'll play and we'll celebrate and we'll just have a good time. So if you have any interest in that, just reach out. It'll be kind of our next Rec Poker road trip if we have enough interest. So with that, Somsky, home games. What do you say, Guru?
I have nothing to say about that either. I'm just
Did I put you on the spot again?
yeah, exactly. I'm not prepared for this. It just happens every week. So for our nightly events, we start off with Digging 8 Graves. Chris, how do you pronounce that name?
Simino. I've seen Digging 8 Graves around quite a bit lately. They're definitely in that final table conversation a lot. So nicely done, Chris.
And I believe I know who Chris is. I think I played here, local Minnesota. Yeah, I think he's a Minnesota player, and I played with him at Aces.
But a little known fact, people don't realize this, that John will refuse to pronounce your name correctly until you win the so, once you win the silver pin, he'll figure it out. But until then, it's like,
pretty much.
Yeah, he was calling me Jeem for like a whole year. God, that was annoying.
Then we have Wilfman 109, Adim Wolfie. Got his Wolfman 109, Adam Wolf got his third nightly series victory for the year.
That's our boy ARW in the forums. Kicking
butt. Hunter H, Hunter Hawes, who I believe is related to Michael Hawes.
Yes, they both played in the Rec Poker reunion tournaments.
Oh,
Hunter just got a really good haircut. It's a nice haircut, Hunter.
Anyway,
I know.
I have this in the wrong spot. He actually won. This is my fault. He won the No Limit Hold'em Championship Series.
Oh my! So he punched a ticket to the final end of year championship finale.
Yep.
That's what you're saying.
The good thing is nobody knew that you had it in the wrong spot. Because nobody sees the PowerPoint.
Well, except for what's supposed to happen is that was supposed to be the premier thing that was, the most important.
Yes, I see.
I buried the lead is what I'm saying. So anyway, no offense, Hunter. Got that. Then in July 8th, we had Trey 371, Thomas Pena. Got his second nightly victory. East Coast Bitter Ben got a nightly victory. And I was witness to that one because I came in runner-up, and he did an excellent job, just totally demolished me, heads up.
Nice way to go, Ben. Congrats.
Then we have Chad McBean.
Back-to-back Canucks. First
of the year.
All right.
And Keto Man 335, Kian Tavakoli, won the mixed game this week.
Did Kian win a silver pin? Because you nailed that pronunciation. Just saying, like he's earned some kind of correct pronunciation from you, obviously, because you're just killing it on that Tavakoli.
Yeah, that's because he actually said, you're leaving a syllable or two out of my name when you say it. And then I felt so bad I had to actually read it. Sometimes I just say these names. I don't actually read them as I'm saying them. That's why
John likes the names that have a little panache. I think John likes Tavakoli. He likes
that. Could be it. So now we are on to the international events for the daily series. And PCS 2005, Jack LaRue.
Sweet. Way to go, Jack.
Got his very first international win. East Coast Bitter Ben got another victory this week.
Oh my God.
Second international tournament.
Oh, are you saying that we had a Saturday go by where Woody Adams did not win a tournament on Saturday? Is that what you're saying? Are you sure? Have you double checked these results that Woody didn't win any of the Saturday tournaments?
I don't believe he won this entire week. He went an entire 7-day stretch without winning a tournament.
Woody, call your office. Something's not right. Let's get this whole thing figured out.
And last but not least, LPP Sunday. Uncle Tom's Cabin, Jeff S. won the LPP event, Learn Pro Poker. So he can contact Jim Reed, Jim at rec.poker, and get your free month to Learn Pro Poker.
Awesome.
Sweet.
Thank you, John. I see you got the September 18th out there too. We mentioned it last time, but that's the next heads up tournament. And so do people need to do anything to be eligible to play that, or just register when the time comes?
They have to have a heartbeat, and they have to be in our home game club. So, and then when the time comes, register for the tournament. We'll have more details as the time progresses, but just keep that in mind. If you want to go on vacation, say, fine, I can go on vacation, but not September 18th. That day, we need to hold.
Are you validating heartbeats, or is that sort of just sort of thing?
No, we will let people assume that they have a heartbeat if they're playing.
The honor system.
Yeah, the honor system.
All right. Well, thank you, John, for all the work on that stuff. How about you, Mr. Jones? What do we got in the content world?
So we're still building on this the seminar model where we're actually doing the kind of play and learn model. I think we had a really nice session last month where and we were focusing on the play leading up to sort of the bubble. So this month it'll be sort of that moment after the bubble bursts, and we'll be looking at kind of a lead into that, and kind of leading into the bubble as well. And then with some of that sort of like some of the ICM pressures of that, I think I can announce this, right, Jim? Yes. Okay. So we're really excited. We've been trying to sort of think about how we could add to. So every one of these months, I'm kind of like trying to stumble through some sort of like, hey, here's some general thoughts about the whole thing.
You
But we're
do so good with that, man.
but we're gonna start trying to have some outside perspectives. So for next month, as we look at some of that bubble pressure and some of the leading into the bubble, we're gonna have Darrow Carney, who's written the book on ICM stuff, look at one key moment from that night and talk about how he might approach it as well. So, and I think this is going to be a really nice addition to this after the fact.
Chris, are you saying that premium members at Rec Poker get to play in a recorded, interactive, learning, engaging event, and then we're going to have pros like Darrow Carney come and critique their own play and give them tips on how they could improve?
They can watch the whole tape of us commenting on it. They get to watch my post script video where I really try to break down some spots, and now we're going to have some pro perspectives too. So I think it's going to be a pretty nice package that we'll get together every month on.
That sounds pretty good.
At some point in the next 5 years, there's not going to be a delineation between Chris's breakdown post and the pro perspective.
Yeah, I agree.
Chris the pro's perspective. If you ever wanted to do that, I believe that is a possibility. But for now, we'll have Chris's perspective and then the pro's perspective.
I feel safer that way.
So I put something in the chat too. So Kim Kilroy does an empowerment. She has a group on our rec.poker speaking about empowerment, and it's just really powerful. And some of the guests that she's had join the group are really great. I know she's going to have a meeting tomorrow night, July 13th. We're already going to have aired this by then, but you guys check that out if you have any interest in that, and we hope you do. Male or female, or however you identify, we want people to feel empowered to play the game and feel included in the game and grow the game that way, just because it's the right thing to do. And so if you have a heart for that, and if I'm misspeaking, somebody correct me, but if you have a heart for that, join that group. Just kind of follow it and then connect where it makes sense. I think that's amazing. Okay, so I was going to say, Paul said too, he spent years perfecting his 7-stud night baseball game.
Is that where 3s and 6s and 9s are all wild or something?
I don't know what that is. Oh.
And you get an extra card with a 4, I think.
Oh, I played that. I played that game. Oh.
I don't even barely know what Omaha is. You guys, this is so. So Paul is an expert in the 7-stud night baseball game. So if that's your game, Paul Parker is the guy that you need to go to. 3s and 9s are wild. All cards down. 4s are wild. I don't know what's happening. Okay,
Every
chaos.
card's wild. Every card's wild.
It sounds
Five
like,
kings loses.
it sounds like a flip-a-mint. Everybody can bring $50. Let's just flip our
Pregnant threes.
few wins, and then we'll just watch TV. Rob, how about you, man? What's going on book study world with Michael Acevedo?
Well, unfortunately, we had to miss the first session in July.
I think
I had a
sorry,
very poor internet.
the first time you've ever canceled a book study in all of the many, many, many months you've been doing it. So I think we'll give you a month off.
Gee, thanks. I had a very poor internet connection, so it wasn't going to be doable. I didn't want to have me go down and up and down and up and down through the whole thing. So not very productive. So anyway, when you next hear this podcast, it'll be the following day, will be the second or the third Wednesday of July. And I believe that is the 21st.
Yep.
We will be continuing with the Modern Poker Theory by Michael Acevedo. We'll be talking about pre-flop ranges in an MTT. So we're going to be going through all the different positions. These are all solver-based GTO solutions for pre-flop ranges. So it's very, like it says, modern poker theory. This is the theory of poker. It's not telling you how to exploit people. It's telling you this is what the theory says is the best way to do it. And then it's up to you to take that and look at what your opponents are doing and see how you can exploit them versus that GTO range. So it's going to be, again, we're going to be diving way into it. Probably be some rabbit holes we're going to dive into. We'll be lucky to find our way out of those rabbit holes and back into the life of the living, but we will do our best.
And if you normally are just a podcast listener, these are the moments that watching the video is worth it, because Rob just light up because we're going to be into it and we're going to go on rabbit trails. He's not like, oh yeah, it's going to take forever. He's like, oh, I love seeing you light up about this stuff. It's awesome.
Well, and you know, one of the things about this chapter of the book study that we're going to be looking into in particular, I was doing a study group just last week where we're going through one of our premium members' database reviews of their Poker Tracker 4 stuff. And they'd sent in a little over 65,000 hands that we were looking at. And when we filtered for facing pre-flop action, a little over 50,000 of those hands were hands where either no one had opened in front of you or one person had opened in front of you. And so almost all the hands you play in poker are going to be ones where you get a chance to open or someone else has opened once in front of you. And so knowing your opening ranges by position, knowing your 3-betting ranges by position, that's going to come up so often that it's really, really valuable for you to be working on, because it's not some esoteric every once in a while this is going to come up kind of principle. This is really the bread and butter of poker. So it's a great way to get involved with this book study that we're doing.
I love it. I know we've had a few new members pop on this, premium members this week, and they're sort of like, oh baby, where do I start? This is all really good, and there's so much good stuff. And so if you're kind of in that camp where you're a new member, you're like, where do I start? Or if you're thinking about becoming a premium member, but it seems like too much, just reach out to us. We will figure out where you're at in your game, what you need to do, what your learning style is, and we'll just tell you, go to the book study or watch the seminars or do this. And you know, we will make it easy for you. The idea is to give enough choice so that everybody can find what they need for their level of skill, for their learning style. And so don't be overwhelmed. What is Jonathan? Don't sweat or whatever. Just, you know, we need a little saying like that, but don't sweat it. Just call us. But that's the thing. So you can actually go to rec.poker. You can check it out. Premium membership, use the code RECPOKER. You get $10 off your first payment, which basically means for $15 a month, you take $10 off. You can try it for $5. So, and you can hang out with people like Rob and Chris and John and Jim and Taylor and Andrew and all these really cool people. Not me. I won't be there because I'm not cool enough. They don't let me. All these cool people will be there. Kim will be there. So anyway, well, anything else, guys, that we need to touch on? Whether it's community related, content related, Rec Poker Nation related.
There's just so much great free stuff there, and all these great videos on YouTube. Now we're doing all our free videos on YouTube. So go to the Rec Poker community on YouTube, check all that out. There's like 30 playlists or something ridiculous like that. Subscribe there and help us out, and just share your love of poker. Put some comments up, tweet at us, let us know what you love and what you don't, and let's just explore this game that we all love together. It's phenomenal.
Love it. So check it out, Rec.Poker. Sign up for the newsletter, the twerp. This Week in Rec Poker comes out every week. So sign up for that. Good information there. But special thanks. Man, Mike Patrick, it was so great to have him on here. Jim, John, Chris, Rob, as always, thanks for joining us. Kim, Paul, Martha in the chat. If you're a premium member, you can just hang out in the chat with us. You can ask questions. You can make all these fun comments that we can't even share with you that were made tonight, but you can hang out with us. But thanks to all of you guys. Thanks to Running Aces Casino, Racetrack, and Hotel. Thanks to Website AMP. The music is really low. It's picking up steam. Here we go. All right, guys, and we will chat with you all next week.